What is up, gamers? Welcome back to General Game Gabbing. So, it has been a minute since I've had one of these discussions. Uh, I think the last time I had this was in the month of November for this special, but before that, it was forever. Tonight's discussion is going to be on music. And I think immediately, like, everyone thinks of their favorite video game theme music, whether it be, the hard metal rock of Doom or the very somber, one of my guest stars is rocking out in the corner, or the very somber and melodious tones of the Halo theme song. But the question tonight is more against music than for, but we'll see about that. In the top left, we have guest star Chris, and in the top right, we have guest star Aaron. Um, yeah, oh, I can't do that. I'll have Chris. You do a little introduction. Tell us your credentials and why you think you're here.
I'm Chris. My YouTube channel, if you want me to say it, Jonah is extra_crispy, although I haven't uploaded in like a year.
Yeah.
Um, I play like 3 instruments. I nowhere near as many as Aaron does, but I play a couple. Um, I, I kind of consider myself knowledgeable in video game soundtracks. I listen to them sometimes. And my favorite soundtrack is the either Jet Set Radios or Near Automata.
Yo, I love Jet Set Radio.
Jet Sets is banging. Oh
Jet
my
Set is
god.
amazing. All right, Aaron, let me get your introduction here.
All right, I'm Aaron. Let's see. I don't know how many instruments I play, but I do play piano, guitar, and I've done some recording, like home recording and stuff, and like to write songs and like to play games. And yeah, I mean my favorite probably is the Near Automata.
It's so good, yeah.
It's so good.
You guys are gonna hate me. I don't think I haven't played that game. So,
Don't worry.
yeah, it looks like I'm gonna have to have that on my list. All right. So, tonight's question. And I'm having trouble phrasing the question because it can be phrased in different ways. And I think there'll be how I like to do it is I'll ask the main question and then a bunch of smaller questions about it. But I think the majority of this is just going to be smaller questions. And I think the top one is in discussing whether how great a video game is, like, oh, good gameplay, good storytelling, graphics, whatever, should music be a part of that? Like, like I just named a bunch of games that, you hear the theme song and instantly you're like, that's Doom or that's Halo. But should music be added into how good a game is? Like, like if we took music out of Doom, is it still good? Or if we took out or if we took theme song for Halo, is it still good?
Mm.
Or is it a package deal?
Aaron, you want to start? You want me to start?
Um, Go for it.
All right, I'm gonna say something really controversial right here.
Okay.
Jet Set Radio is a really bad game, but the soundtrack is so good. If you've ever played it,
I
the
I
rails.
have.
So
I've never.
so you are on roller skates and you're supposed to be able to wall run and rail slide. Half the time, it doesn't hook onto the walls or rails like you want it to. The same with Skate 3. You can't hook on. It never hooks on right. But the soundtrack is so freaking awesome. It holds the game up. So I think to an extent it should be if it's a really good soundtrack. Um, Frankly, Skyrim and games like that. I know the opening to Skyrim's awesome. I don't really care about the rest of the music that much, and I know that's probably some kind of musical sin, but I think Skyrim would be like games like Skyrim that would be good with or without the music.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what you think, Aaron.
Mm. Well, I think it's. So, are you asking if a game should be judged on how the music works together with the rest of the gameplay, or
So, all right. So, let me put it this way. There are certain games that need music. Like there's a game that I actually have I couldn't beat it for my channel. I don't know why, but it's called Crypt of the Necro Dancer. It's a game where you move in beat with the music. You move, you attack,
Mm.
you collect items in rhythm with the music. So certain games need to have a background game music, but a lot of people like to discuss how good a game is and the quality of the game, right? Quality being like how good the graphics are and how fun it is to play. Should and I'm talking about is if music should be added into that argument. You know what I'm saying?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
I think it's part of the overall sound design.
Mm-hmm.
Because even the choice to have music or not to have music, that's a design choice. And I mean, I guess good um, game developers will use music and sound in a way that accents the gameplay, or even like you know stealth games. They've sometimes when you're spotted or something, there's a bit of a audio cue, and usually it's some kind of music that
Mm-hmm.
makes it a bit more tense. So um, I think that should
It improves
factor in.
it improves the gameplay. Like I was gonna say, like Scott, going back to what you said, Chris, Skyrim, you're walking around and then like you're going from point A to point B. You're trying to reach that one fast travel spot that you don't have unlocked yet, and you're walking around in the middle of a forest, and then like the music changes. And like it's the battle music, and you're like, oh, something's about to attack me, and you start looking
Mm.
around to see the little red dot on your compass and be like, which direction is it coming from? Um, but yeah, I feel that. However, so I've played a lot of games that are just dead quiet, just absolutely like no sound, no music. I want to say Inside and Limbo fits in that, but they do have soundtrack at some points, but not a whole lot of the time. Like, yeah, I'm not sure about those two, but there are certain horror games and certain games that it's just absolutely quiet. But the thing is they're still fantastic. Like the silence is an atmosphere that just adds to the chilliness of it. Um,
Mhm.
so like if a game is supposed to have a good soundtrack and it should be added, yeah, sure. But let me add this: is music important for games?
I say it depends what kind of game you're playing. Like, if you're a game that like really, like Skyrim or Near, where it's about exploring, like if you're in the forest and there's no sound, and it's just it's not a scary game, it's just an adventure game.
Now, I didn't say sound because I was gonna originally ask, was like, oh, does video games even need sound? No, no, no. You need sound. Now,
Yeah.
this is a question of just music. Like, if I was like one of those gamers, like, oh, this game isn't realistic, so I'm not gonna play it. So and when I'm walking through a forest, all of a sudden I gain like the supernatural sense of, oh, hey, the music changed, so that means I'm about to be attacked. So what if we take the music out and then we get blinds and then we get like we get tackled by like a wolf or something whatnot. So in that, I'm talking about something like that. You need to have the sound because you need to know, like, you hear the crunching of footsteps nearby, or like a scream if you're playing a horror game, or like a ghostly wail or something. Sound itself is important. I'm talking about music.
hmm
Okay, keep going though.
Well, okay, let me rephrase it then. If I want like, I was gonna say something, but you made me start to rethink that. 'Cause I was thinking about like Skyrim. Like, wait, some of the best parts in Skyrim are when there's no music and you're walking through the woods. Like, you're just kind of like it's like peaceful. I always thought that was cool. But like there's some games where I think if like there's no music, it's just gonna be kind of boring. Like this is from a visual novel. This poster here, and those games like if there's no soundtrack, you're just reading text for like 40 hours. And then Aaron, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like so those games, yes, I think would absolutely need a soundtrack. But like you're saying with horror games, like does Resident Evil really need to play intense music every time you see his well,
Not necessarily, no.
yeah. So I'm just thinking like, so should it be considered when they're? I'm gonna say it depends on the game. Like it really does when it comes to like should music be there or should like you consider what music as part of the gaming experience.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that's true. Depends on what kind of game it is. If it's a super grindy RPG, it's gonna be missing the soundtrack.
Hmm.
Although I will say I played Dragon Quest 11,
There we go.
and that is and they even got what the Tokyo Orchestra to record their sound for them, their the background music. But I felt like the loops were too short. They were like maybe 30 seconds. And then after a while you're just hearing the same thing over and over again. And that was rough.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay. So let me think for a second because I need to come up with another. I need to come up with the other part of the question. There are games out there that are more well known for their soundtrack than for their gameplay, like Jet Set Radio, like
Hmm.
you mentioned. Um, Now, how about this? If the soundtrack for a video game is terrible, would that affect the actual game itself? Could you force yourself? And like most games, like I'm actually mad. My father, he and I both love Skyrim. He keeps muting the music, and it's like, what are you doing? He's like, oh, it's depressing. I'm like, no, we can't hear the baller soundtrack. But
Hmm.
he keeps muting it. I'm like, okay, whatever. So could you, if a game has a bad soundtrack, like not even bad, just more annoying, would that affect the quality of the game?
I think an annoying soundtrack would absolutely affect the quality of the game.
But could you
Like
bring
Aaron was
yourself to
saying,
play
like
it?
30-second loops of the same thing when I'm in a field for like 4 hours trying to fight the same monster. It can get to be a pain. I think.
So, in that essence, then it should be music should be brought into account of how good a game is.
Yeah, I'd say if it's really bad music or really good, then definitely.
Mm.
Yeah, I tend to look at games, especially story games, kind of like movies, in terms of like it's the whole package. And there's also a reason why movie soundtracks are really popular. Um, and they use music even I don't really watch horror at all, but I know they use sound and music, um, like they use that as a tool to either make something even more scary or even by subtraction by having nothing, no sound or no music. That's also a tool that they can use.
Hmm. I would agree with that because there's like sounds, and I wouldn't even what I'm about to play. I wouldn't even call this music. I'm not even sure if you'll be able to hear this play through. I'll add it in. That's an ad.
Is it playing right now?
It is. Can you not hear it?
Oh, I can hear it now. You're not now. I can't.
You have to keep talking, so you can hear it right there. Only when I'm actually just
Oh
it's
yeah.
very weird. So like when you hear this music, then you know there's like something terrible is around the corner, or like there's like some type. Oh, it stopped. Or you have like like there's a climax that's about to happen. It's really interesting. I actually did a school project on that. The sound, not I'm not sure if that's one specifically, but the violins to sing, they use that they use that sound because it's like imitating the baby's cry,
Mhm.
and like everyone has that internal sense of whenever they hear an infant crying, they get stressed and tense because that means that their kind is in trouble or in danger of something like that. I mean, this probably just shows how awful a human being I am. For me, I just get annoyed, but
Oh,
so I'm
whenever you
awful.
hear the video game, whenever you hear the violin thing,
Not the violin thing.
oh,
Not the violin thing, because in my mind, when I hear that, it does put me on edge. So
Mhm.
So let me. But can music be used as a tool for video games in a certain way as that? Is it like, and is it effective? Isn't it an effective tool? And I think Aaron, this is a better question for you here. Is that how exactly is music used as like a way to almost control a person? You know what I'm saying?
Mm. Um, yeah, I think there's a lot of musical cues that are, if they're subtle, you won't notice them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, actually, Chris, you'll know this too. Like, I never played Dark Souls, but I played Code Vein, and a, a lot of that is just sort of subtle um, music, except during boss fights and things like that. Um, and in some way, once you learn it, it's like, okay, I know I'm in danger now, or I'm not. Someone has spotted me or not. But a lot of times when you're just running around, there is no music. It's just the ambient sound of the environment. Um, so then when you get into a fight, then the music kind of kicks up. And um, I also, so you haven't played Near Automata, but
No,
Chris has
sorry.
as well. There's a Chris, you remember the hacking parts when you're hacking?
when you play 9S, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you are in the world, you're fighting. There's music in the fight, but then when you enter this hacking mode, it does it so smoothly. It's like synced up perfectly. So as you go in, the music changes into this like 8-bit type music, but it's the same track, just in like transformed into like a digital sounding thing. And
Yeah,
Okay.
it's
and
also
that
like the same track in the same position you left it, like seamless.
yeah.
It's awesome how they
I
do
can.
that.
Okay. I think I've seen different things like that. In Crypto the Necrodancer, there's a level where it's fire and ice, and when you cross over into the ice section, it's like a different play style of the song. But then when you go into the like it's a lower, more bass, kind of like I don't know how, I'm not a musician.
Chiller.
So a little more chiller, yeah, yeah. Then joke, pun fully intended. But then when you cross over
Hmm.
into the fireside, it's like um electric guitar, like heavy metal type of deal. But it's like the same song basically. I'll have to share with you
Mm,
guys.
nice.
But it is like whenever you go back and forth, like you can just stand on the line to where the dungeon is split in half between the fire and the ice, and it just plays out so beautifully. So I understand what you guys are talking about with near automata. Um,
Actually, Replicant does that too. So Replicant's fight music. This is the new prequel to Near Automata they just
mhm.
released. Um, the fight music is the exact same track as the like dungeon music, except what they do is the dungeon music just like this like really soft, almost like ritualistic sounding piece. And every time you see an enemy, they add like drums and guitars in the exact same piece, and it's just really cool to do that. So it
So
kind
wait,
of sounds like something what
so
you
wait,
did.
Wow.
with like more enemies to come on the screen to add like more instruments, basically.
It's more like I don't think they do. I think it's just the battle theme piece theme, but they're the exact same song, except with just more like when you go to fight, there's a guitars and there's drums and stuff, and you're not fighting, you're just walking around. There's just like vocals.
Okay, okay. I see that. All right. Well, I don't want to keep this going too much longer because I'm running out of things to ask. So, if I could have like final thoughts here, as like, there's a lot of like great musical pieces out there with video games. I named a couple at the beginning. Some other ones that come to mind is anything, literally anything, and Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker, which is probably my favorite Legend of Zelda game. Breath of the Wild is close, but not. But Wind Waker will always hold a special place in my heart. And just like the traveling music, the Dragon Roost Island, everything is just perfect. Um, but like picturing a game, certain games without their musical track in it, like for some, is just like it's like a crime basically because of how well it works together. Um, so let me put it this way: do you think that there are some games that the game is good and the music is good, but the music doesn't really fit with the game? Like you love the soundtrack, like the soundtrack is amazing, but it's like, oh, I really wouldn't have seen this song being played with this game. Like I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but like that's like the example I'm thinking of. Is there something like that?
Hmm.
I know there is. I just can't. I'm thinking right now what. And I know I've definitely played games. I'm like this song makes heroes sense here,
Hmm.
but I can't think of one off the top of my head.
You know
I
what?
think those free to play MMORPGs
Oh yeah.
that just use a random soundtrack that doesn't fit anything.
Mm. What was
Yeah.
it? What was it? DC Universe Online. Uh, I it was okay, but I feel like they could have done more with it. But they had like just a random thing that looped over every now and then, and it's like you could tell when it started to loop again. Like it wasn't just like something smooth. Like it was like the song would just stop and then start to play again. It's like okay, fine, whatever. All right. So I'm not
I
this.
actually thought of one.
You thought of one?
Yeah. So and it's an older game. So you know Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, during the story mode, they play heavy metal parts and like the slow. They play heavy metal music and like the slow parts, and you're just in a cutscene in a helicopter. That's what I was thinking. It was like I was just playing it again. And I found it on my Xbox drawer, and I was like, wow, I never actually beat this game. So but yeah, they play heavy metal music in the slow parts, and then there's like no music in the fast parts. So
Nice. It's
yeah,
like, all right, it's time for a stealth mission, and it's like, "Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da." Wait, what?
yeah,
No, don't do this to me.
exactly.
Awesome, I love it. All right, well, thank you, Aaron and Chris, for coming out to
Mm-hmm.
discuss this with me. So I think we can agree that music definitely is a factor in discussing how good a game is, but for some games, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah. I would say if you're making a game and you don't have something that really inspires you or fits, then just don't have music.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think annoying music is worse than no music.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I can agree with that. Like, there's like, yeah, there's certain soundtracks that just don't need to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
I think
huh?
you say I have my closing statement later.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, oh my gosh, I am blanking. The literature club one. What the frick? What is
Oh,
it?
Doki Doki.
Thank you. Yes, Donkey
Yeah, that
Donkey
one.
Literature Club. I feel like they should like go through it just a little more and just be like, okay, let's there's this song that's like it's like, sunshine and rainbows and everything, but it sounds cute but more in a sinister way. You know what I'm saying? So like try
Mm.
to have something like that. I can't remember the name of it. I see it a lot on the game Geometry Dash. Um, So it's a very upbeat song, and then halfway through it changes and it sounds more sinister, but still is like cheery and upbeat. So it like kind of makes you uncomfortable. Chris, what were you gonna say?
So yes, I think music's important in games. I think Ocarina of Time is the most overrated game in history, but it's still a good game. But like, imagine Ocarina of Time with a soundtrack.
With the what
So
soundtrack?
without a soundtrack,
I mean, half the game you played the ocarina, so
yeah, I
you
mean, so
kind of need
that's,
you
that's what I
kind
mean. So I think
yeah.
yes, games should definitely be judged off the soundtrack, for like, especially like if the soundtrack's a big part of the game.
Okay. All right. Cool. Well, thank you guys for coming out here to do the discussion. It was very interesting, very enlightening. And for everyone who has tuned in, thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. And as always, I am Rick Quasar, and please tune in next time to the next general game gabbing discussion. Have a good night.